What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game preview and a special Kickstarter preview. Today I'm very excited to check out Folklore, the Affliction from Greenbrier Games. This is for 1 to 4 players. Ages, I'd say about 13, 14 plus, so I think about 90 minutes to 2 hours to play. And in Folklore, the Affliction, you're going to be taking control of a character in a cooperative game. But this is not any cooperative game. This is going to be a game with numerous chapters and numerous different stories, and you're going to be leveling up your character all the while, similar to a role-playing game. But it's dripping with theme in a choose-your-own-adventure style game. We're going to be exploring this map, going to different locations, fighting different monsters, dealing with different ailments and different items and different road events and all sorts of stuff in this game that is, well, let's just say, is incredibly ambitious. Let's open it up, and I'll show you a little bit more. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what's inside of Folklore, the Affliction. So, as I like to mention before we get started, this is the promotional copy I have in front of me, so take everything you see here with a grain of salt. Obviously, yours are going to be nice little miniatures instead of these guys right here. And also, I only have enough contents for the first 2 chapters of the first story, so there's going to be actually even more than you're getting here. So first and foremost, we got a handy-dandy rule booklet. It is 36 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and this was a very daunting rule booklet, I'll be really honest, but it was actually very well done, and it'll have you up and running in probably about, 30 minutes to an hour. It is going to take you a while to sort through everything, and you're going to have to consult back to it. But your story journal, which I'll get into next, is very, very helpful as well, and will hold your hand through a lot of the process. So in Folklore, the Affliction, what's going to be happening is you are going to be going on an epic choose-your-own-adventure journey. The map is upside down, so I'll fix that real quick. Over this giant map right here. And each of the map, as you can see right here, is going to have different locations, like Belbar Estate, or Wagland Point, or Church of the Crossroads. And in this area, as you probably guessed from the theme, there's going to be terrible, terrible things going on. There's going to be werewolves, and undead, and vampires, and all sorts of bad things. And you're going to have to face all of those undead things, like the abominations, and the highwaymen, and the human mobs, and werewolves. All sorts of bad things are going to be coming your way. But luckily, this is a cooperative game, which means you're going to be in a party together. So let's go over all the components. There's just tons here, and then I'll try and briefly go over a little bit of the gameplay. But before we get started, I do want to mention there's tons and tons and tons and tons going on in this game, so I can't even begin to cover everything. So as we mentioned, you're going to be going around this map. Who's going to be going around this map? Well, each person is going to get their own unique character. And their own unique character is going to come with this little sheet right here. It's going to give you the backstory on your character. And also, you're going to have a specific character focus. And depending on which side you pick, that is going to dictate potentially how you play the game. They'll give you a special ability or various other things like that. When you open this up, you're going to see what your starting abilities are, because each character is going to have their own unique starting abilities, your own starting equipment, and some other things that you're going to have. So each character is immediately going to play differently, and they're also going to have different equipment. Now also, over here you might notice town and locations, because they're on the board. There's going to be numerous different towns. Austerlake, Eurotrucks, Wayland Point. There's going to be different towns that you can go to, and each character is going to be able to do different things while they are in town. So even when you go into town as a group together, each person is going to be able to do their own unique actions, purchase their own unique equipment and items and all sorts of cool things like that. Now on the back, this is similar to a role-playing game where you're going to be leveling up. So on the back we have our skill tree, where you're going to try and acquire lore. Now this lore, as you level up, is going to give you various different special abilities, or so this one's plus 180 skill when you get to 8 lore. When you get to 20, sacrifice a holy water at any tune to reduce the skirmish counter by 1. So there's going to be various other different things that you will be able to level up. Because I mentioned, in this game you're not just playing through one adventure. You're going to be able to go through, I believe it's 5 or 6 different adventures, which are going to have numerous chapters in these 2 your own adventure books, which will take place in your story journal. But let's not rush, because we still got a lot of stuff to talk about. So next, you're also going to have a little character. Now, your little character is not going to be moving around the board, because when you're moving around the board, it's kind of like an MMORPG or a role-playing game or something like that, where you're going to be going around this big sprawling board, just kind of moving from point A to point B and having encounters and whatnot. But once you go into a specific location, that's when you're actually going to use your characters, because it's going to zoom in. That's when you're going to have these smaller maps that are going to come into play, and that's when you put your character on the board. And also, you'll have undead characters who are going to go on the board. board. Those are all going to be miniatures, and you're going to be going having battles and having fights with people, and sometimes you'll be in the dark, which means that will impact you depending on if you have a light source or not, which is going to be an item. There's tons and tons of dice rolling in here. And they have what's called the skirmish system. So essentially, when you get into a fight, you're either going to have a skirmish with the character, like this Night Stalker right here. You can either have a skirmish with the character, or if you're in this mode right here, where the character is actually going to be on the board, you flip it over, and then you're going to have a full-blown battle. And as you can see, this side is much more complex because you have to worry about their movement, because they are going to be moving towards you, their defense, their Vita, which is the health in this game, and also they have a special ability up here that, for instance, let's read the Night Stalker. If the Night Stalker attack has a power die of 0, it is transformed to a werewolf, and a werewolf is going to be a little bit more difficult to deal with, obviously. Also, right here, you might notice that it says 2 or 3, 4 or 5. That's because you can play this game with 5 players, apparently. But yeah, also there is going to be solo variants for the game, so that's pretty cool as well. And on the back, you can see it's much more streamlined and condensed, and this is because you are going to have encounters just along the road when you are traveling. Now, what kind of encounters are you going to have? Well, you're going to have 2 main kind of encounters. If you stay on the road, you will have road events. And these road events, these are pretty well balanced. What I mean by that is some are good and some are bad, and they generally tend to balance out. Now, obviously, there's going to be many, many more than I have for this, but for what they sent me, I was able to use those ones. Now, if you decide to go off the road, things will get quicker. Like, so for instance, let's just say you want to go to the Church of the Crossroads to Elk Pines. Normally, you'd have to go boop, 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 boop. You'd have to go all the way around. Well, you could just choose to go off the beaten path. However, that means you're going to be drawing one of these cards right here. And these cards are generally going to be a lot more dangerous. A lot of bad things can happen once you go off the road, so you're going to have to take that into consideration when you go. So dice-wise, you're going to have tons of dice to roll. You're going to have a 3-sided or 4-sided die. You're going to have a couple 6-sided dice. You're going to have 2 d10s, but this one is 100 because when you do battle, generally you're going to be rolling, and so you would have 69 for this. So you're actually going to be rolling the number right there, and then you'll have different attributes that will impact that. So let's go over to our character card so you can see a little bit of how your character card is going to look. So here we have the Witch Hunter, and you can see right here he's got, this is going to be his power, and your power is going to be the points you use on your special abilities, because you're going to have certain special abilities that only you will have and no one else will have. So you're going to start on 5, and you can eventually level it up, though. And also you're going to have to start with 21 Vita, and that is your health points. So as you can see, you're going to be able to keep track of that and that on here. Now up top, you're going to have your attributes. So your power, that's how much you can use on your special abilities. Your stride, how far you can move. Your defense, pretty self-explanatory. If you get attacked, if someone has an attack higher than a 38, then they're going to hit you. And your might, which is going to impact how much damage you're going to do. Also, when you do skill checks, because similar to a role-playing game, you're going to have many, many skill checks. If it's faith or occult or nerve, you are going to have a higher bonus to those, which means you'll be more likely to succeed, and good things will happen. Now, also in this game, you can die, and if that happens, you're going to become a ghost. Now, when you're a ghost, you're a lot less useful, as you could probably guess, but you're still not out of the game, and I do like that. And also, you will eventually come back to life. So yes. So that is going to be your typical character card. Let's keep going on with some of the more components you might have over here. One thing I do like, even in just the early game, is that they have a bunch of these little nifty cheat sheets here on skirmishing and statuses and encounters. Because as you the 36-page rulebook is not something you want to go to too terribly often, obviously. And they really understood that, so they tried to come up with these guys, and then also they have the story journal, which we haven't even got to yet. So let's get over to the story journal here. Now, the story journal is going to be where the theme of the game really comes alive. And so it's very well done, and it's going to have you reading out the story, and then it'll have skill checks, and even if you don't remember what a skill check is, it'll say go to page 13, and it'll tell you exactly where to go, and there's choose your own adventure style things. So for instance, choose your path. So depending on what you do, it's going to have different outcomes, and you're going to read different story moments, which are in the back of the book. So this is just different story moments just from the first 2 chapters of the first story. That's an entire 2 pages. So I imagine when this whole thing gets to you, it is going to be a huge dripping with theme story that's going to be coming at you. But needless to say, you're going to be making choices and choosing your own adventure. Now over here where you can't see it, I'll zoom it over a little bit. There's tons and tons of different kinds of cards. You're going to have companions that you can potentially come with you, and you'll have different abilities that you can get, and you'll have items that you can get, and you'll have tarot cards that will do various different things. You may not have companions, and sometimes these are bad. +1 stride, -10 defense. You are immediately placed in limbo upon death. So as you can see, lots of different stuff are going to be happening here. Lots of different cards, lots of different chips, lots of different components, lots of things going on. You're going to be choosing your own adventure, going around the map, leveling up, and they also are going to have this guy right here, which I didn't even mention. Now, obviously, yours is not going to be a little ghetto dry erase one. Yours is actually going to be a nice one, and this is just going to keep track of all the things that happen to you in between games, because obviously, this is going to take between 90 hours to 2 hours to play generally, so you're probably not going to do everything in a full sitting, so you're going to do one story at a time, or one chapter at a time or something like that. Then you're going to put everything back in your bag, and this helps you remember, maybe what conditions or ailments you had, or what's different things like that. But anywho, you're going to go on your journey, and you're going to continue your journey. It's going to be a persistent journey. You're going to level up your awesome character, and here's even a town reference that'll help you out, because as I mentioned, they have awesome references, and that, in a kind of crazy, not really that full nutshell, is Folklore, the Affliction. Alrighty then, Folklore, the Affliction from Greenbrier Games. Now before we get started, I do want to mention, normally when I do these Kickstarter videos, I either do a review if I like the game and recommend the game, or a preview if I don't. But this is one of the rare previews where I actually really enjoyed my time with the game, but I can't give the game a review yet because I've only taken a small bite of this game. I have only played the first 2 chapters in one story of the game, and what I really enjoyed what I liked there. So we're going to be going over what I liked and also who might enjoy this game. So first and foremost, if you are looking for a meaty, epic experience that is incredibly ambitious, this is really one you're going to want to check out. Now, the game is going to have absolutely gorgeous miniatures, and I really don't care. That's fantastic. But the gameplay and the theme itself and the story already had me gripped in this game. That's one thing that I'm going to complain about, is that I want to see more of what happens. I really liked the choose-your-own-adventure aspect of this game. I also like the fact that they included a whole bunch of reference sheets to help you out, because there is a lot going on in this game. It is a lot to take in. Now, once you get 3, 4, 5 chapters in, I'm sure it would be like old hat. However, there's still a lot going on in this game. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of items, a lot of abilities to keep track of, stuff to do in the town, how much your stride, your health, your vial, all sorts of stuff is going to be going on in this game. So if you're in the market for a very meaty, ambitious game, this one might be for you. Also, I really like the idea of leveling up your character, and it does seem like as you progress through the game, your character really is going to take its own form based on, just from the start, your character is going to be yours and going to be unique. You might have the madman who's just going in there and just hacking and slashing. You might be trying to go long range, and I like that. I like how different the characters feel. Now, I've only got a chance to play through with 3 of the different characters, but they all felt different, and I did really enjoy that. So if you're in the market for that sort of thing, obviously this might be one you want to check out. Also, it's from Greenbrier Games, so you're going to get freaking gorgeous miniatures. So if you love miniatures, there's some really cool characters in this game that I'm excited to see what they look like in miniature form. And I don't paint miniatures, but this might be a game that I'd really like to have my miniatures painted, but I'm trying to steer clear of the miniatures. You already know they're going to be gorgeous miniatures, so what else do I like about the game? Everything really feels cool. It definitely feels like a role-playing game. So if you're in the market for a game that feels like a role-playing game, this one might be for you. You're going to be chucking a lot of dice. You're going to be having to do skill checks and all that sort of thing. And I'm not normally a role player. I don't role play that often. But this made me be like, man, this is fun. I actually could see myself getting into this and doing this. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the setting. I enjoyed the artwork. Just Folklore, the Affliction. This is a preview, so obviously take it for what you will. But this is one I am very excited about. And I think if you're in the market for this sort of thing, you should be very excited about as well. So that is Folklore, the Affliction from Greenbrier Games. If you enjoyed this preview, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below and in the comments below. Let me know, what is your favorite football, college or professional? For college, for me personally, Missouri Tigers. My grandpa went there, but that kind of wanes a little bit here and there because I don't have too much of an attachment to it now. But for professional football, NFL football, I am a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and I was before we got Peyton Manning. So don't rub that on me. I don't even know what that expression means, but let me know in the comments below. Football, do you like it? What's your favorite team? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. That was the preview for Folklore, the Affliction. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bowers Game Corner.